Hello and welcome back. Giant Bomb's Night 2, Day 17 coverage of E3 2018 continues. I'm Jeff Gerstmann. We're joined by another batch of great guests, starting with, directly to my left, we've got Jacob and Sven from Iowa Interactive. How's it going?
Fine, thank you.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming.
Yeah.
Of Netherrealm fame, basketball legend Ed Boon.
Thank you. Thank you.
The man of dunks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure to see you.
Always. It's become like a part of E3 for me, so I love coming
Sometimes
here.
you've got a game, sometimes you don't.
Yes,
but
sometimes
as long
you
as you're
don't.
here,
Yeah. I love
happy.
coming here. Yeah. So.
Eric Pope of
Jeff.
For Honor fame. Of
Am I
Eric Pope's For Honor.
Right. That's what it's named.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm doing good. Was it Ubisoft Canada, Montreal?
Montreal, please.
Yes.
Part of Ubisoft Canada, which is a collection of Canadian studios. But Montreal is
That
the
makes
flagship.
sense.
I have over 3,000 coworkers in Montreal alone. It's nuts.
So are you just like constantly running into people on the streets at all times that you work with?
Oh, yeah.
You just don't even know it?
Oh, yeah, and meeting people from my same floor that I've never met before that have been there for years.
That happens to me all the time.
It's like college.
Gross.
Yeah.
Speaking of college, Dan Ryckert is here.
I'm still here.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Yes, thanks for sticking it out.
Of course, yeah.
Great.
I was super jealous. One of my first ones I did with Giant Bomb that I just missed Ed Boon's segment. I grew up really into Mortal Kombat, and I just missed it, so it's very nice to be here.
Grew up meaning you're not into it anymore? Like what's
I still
that's
fucking
wrong.
love Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
I love Mortal Kombat.
Man, wow.
Yeah.
The best fighting game.
Yeah. Ed, no game. What's going on? This is
Well, we've had E3s where there's no game.
You're right.
Before in the
yeah,
past.
definitely.
There's definitely like a pattern we've been following that we've kind of broken out of, and I'm surprised how many people know about that pattern. You know, I didn't think that many people were taking, writing it down, but it's certainly something that we're changing around, and I wish I could, chomping at the bit to talk about stuff, but at the moment we have nothing that we're announcing. Is that?
All right, just tell me, is Stryker in it or what? What are we doing? Yeah, no, I mean that was the cadence for a while. Was the talk about the game at E3, ship in April type thing.
Yeah.
I feel like Injustice 2. When I started thinking about it, when I started maybe piecing some things together and go, I don't think they're gonna have a game there.
Yeah.
At first I was like, oh man.
In the past,
E3 is canceled.
In the past, we've like released some kind of an announcement trailer right before E3, and then so when we didn't do something like that, it was like the death threats started.
Yeah. Red alert! What are we doing?
Yeah.
Didn't the web series launch like a couple weeks before E3, like 7 or 8 years ago, before 9? There was that web series that was like the modern, like somebody like Jax or somebody or Scorpion was getting interrogated.
Yeah.
Could have been Jax, could have been Scorpion.
You know what that was?
Guy.
Maybe Jax was interrogating.
Oh,
Scorpion.
you're absolutely right. It was a Kevin Tanchero, and it was like called Mortal Kombat
Legacy?
Rebirth. No, Legacy or Rebirth.
Yeah.
And it was Michael Jaleel White was Jax, and he was interrogating, I think, like Scorpion or something.
Yeah.
And he literally, without any kind of,
Legal.
talking with us, just leaked it, and like we were about to do our video like the next day or something like that. It was just a crazy coincidence.
And everyone assumed the new Mortal Kombat was going to be that. Like, oh, it's like a modern take on Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
And it wasn't.
Yeah, no, it's in some ways it's weirdly more exciting to go like, oh, well, if it's not getting announced, then what's different? And start trying to piece that mystery together. But I'm sure you'll be out on Twitter telling the truth at all times.
That's right.
About what's coming and when. So.
Yeah, about that.
Hitman 2, not Hitman Season 2.
No.
Was this always the plan, or was this something where you're like, okay, well, if we're going to be distributing this on a physical disc, maybe it doesn't make sense to put just a racetrack map on the disc and expect people to download the rest, or what was the goal from the beginning with the next Hitman?
Well, first of all, we really wanted to kind of continue the story, and we did the episodic. It worked to some degree for us and all that stuff. But then we kind of took a look at it and said, okay, how can we do the next thing from moving on from here? And the decision was that what really worked very well was the elusive targets, as some of you know.
Well, it worked really well if you were like good at the game. So I don't think I know very well at all.
But I think that the whole live tail end with escalations, all that stuff where we kind of kept feeding things into the game, worked really well. So this time around, we're bundling up the main story missions, and you get them on the release day.
Yeah.
And yeah, then you can kind of dig through the story at your own pace, and at the same time, it also makes it a bit easier for us kind of to do the live content, because in the first season, right, you had one map, and that was it for the live content for the following period, right?
Yeah.
So this time around, we can spread out across the maps and work kind of to create more variety actually all the time. So
and kind of jump around a little bit more in terms of like, okay, now we're gonna go back to this map instead of just like we're really drilling into this map this month, and then next month it's gonna be more of this map. Yeah. Okay.
So I think that over the live part of this, you will get to visit the locations kind of. Yeah, more spread out. Cool. If you get what I mean.
Yeah, I also think like that the Search Farm did a really good job for us in sort of re-educating players what the Hitman game is all about. Because they had this one location, right? And yeah, they were kind of forced to spend their time with that and, get to know the game. And then they realized, oh, wow, I can actually spend 20, 30 hours in one location. So building that foundation did a pretty awesome job for us.
Yeah.
And it's not like we're changing the format of the levels, right? So with this knowledge, then they can go deep. From the get-go as well, right? Yeah,
it's been, I know I've said it before, I never connected really with the earlier Hitman games. It just, they were wildly popular, and it was just like, there was always like, it's just a little too punishing for me, I'm a coward, and there was, but with the way season 1 came out and the way it came together, it just felt like, here was this perfect storm. Like everything was coming together in terms of just like, the stuff that was classic to Hitman, stuff that I'm looking at and going like, this is all brand new. It's like, no, this is like, this has been in Hitman forever. But being able to come at it all felt so fresh and so like well made. It's got to be exciting to not only have had that success, but like, hey, now like out on your own.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that the whole, I have been doing Hitman forever, right? So
be a good name for a game at some point. Hitman Forever. All the season 1 content.
Yeah, exactly. And then contracts, blood money, Absolution.
Sure. Yeah, why not?
Dope. But that was kind of my journey on this. So going from blood money to Absolution and then back to 2016. For me, that was just kind of super cool to see all the good stuff that I knew from blood money and Absolution kind of combined into one, and that's just a perfect storm where it just clicks, and we made the AI so much better than Blood Money used to be, right? Just because, not better, but also better performing, kind of in terms of drama and acting and all this stuff. So it was kind of very immersive and good at telling what's going on and all that stuff. And now it's just great to be able to kind of take the next step and see, okay, cool. So we have this foundation. All right, we're gonna up the crowd. The briefcase is back, I should say. That's another new old mechanic. But cool. But it's great to see it.
Yeah, awesome. Eric Pope. Hey, speaking of live games,
that's my life.
For Honor seems like one of the livest games.
Live and direct. Yes.
Yeah. So announcing a new faction here at the show.
It's true.
Like this is like the Ubisoft way, what has become the Ubisoft way of like working these games and sticking with these games.
The new Ubisoft.
Yeah. The free of no one's going to take us over anytime soon Ubisoft way.
Did that one win the banner contest, by the way, with Eve as the guy from the Shawshank Redemption?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that. I don't think that one ended up winning, but there were some other pretty good ones.
Whoever made that, God bless you.
I think it had the one that won had the panda on it.
Oh, pandas are good.
Yeah, pandas good.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. So, what's that like? No, but like
it's amazing. I'll be honest. So, you've known me forever. I worked at Harmonix doing community stuff there.
Technically a live game, regular.
Before
DLC
we knew
updates.
what live games were,
yeah.
We had weekly DLC for 5 years, whatever it was. So so it did suit me well to go work on a true live games as a service game. I didn't know going into it, right? Like, okay, I just got hired by this big company. I'll try out this fighting. Never worked on a fighting game. But when I got there, I quickly learned, at least the team that I'm on, massively community focused. So being a community developer at Ubisoft, you sit with the developers. I have regular meetings with like our game director, our creative director, our brand director, and all of them truly actually want to hear what the community thinks. Generally, they want to hear what's bad. They're like, oh, the nice stuff's good, but what's pissing them off? What's not meeting their expectations? And I'm not making this up. Like every week, because we do a weekly community report, we go through the negative items on the report and it's like, okay, how can we change that? How can we work on that? And like, for someone in my profession, that is gold. You don't get that a lot on dev teams, and it makes me super happy. So I have a really unique position where I can regularly influence the development of a game that I'm working on, which has never been the case in the past. Like, I love my time at Harmonix to death, but they didn't care about our opinions, did they, Alex? No. That's not it was the old times. Sure. It was the pre-2010s. Like,
yeah.
Community was just a forum thing. So no, it's really honestly very gratifying. So yeah.
It seems like, you talk about building reports and all this other stuff, and I think, this is something that, Hitman probably gets a lot of feedback along those lines as well. But do you ever worry that just kind of responding to what feedback the community is giving you, well, I guess it depends on how you respond, but I guess like the thing I think of, what my favorite games often do is it's not like anticipating or it's anticipating what I might actually like and surprising me. Yeah. It's not, hey, I'm mad about this, fix it. It's, here's this thing I didn't even know I wanted. And
for us, it's definitely a combo of both.
Yeah.
For the live aspect, we need to do the latter, where we do have to, because the game's not perfect. I don't know if a game is ever perfect, but our game isn't perfect, and we're incrementally making it better based on that stuff. Where it's like, what are people upset about? But that doesn't keep people playing the game or new people coming to the game. You do still need to surprise them, and that's the other side of it, right? Like, so we do seasons. I know you guys did episodes. With every season, we do like these events where we try to surprise the community with so it's like variations on game modes, new cosmetics that they're not expecting.
I guess now, like, just announcing like, hey, a new faction's coming to the game. Like, that's probably something that's a little more like, some people probably knew that at some point that would need to happen.
Yeah, they weren't ready for it. They didn't think we were ready to do a new faction already. If you don't know the game, it's 3 factions: Knights, Samurais, and Vikings fighting against each other, and a history that never existed. And we didn't really give hints that we were ready to do another faction. So I don't know that they were ready for it, but it's gone over super well. Cool. It's a Chinese-influenced faction because China has amazing history in terms of warfare. Because in For Honor, they always start with the weapon before they design anything else. The character design, the combat design, always starts with what is the weapon, and then they build it out from there.
Can I play as Lu Bu?
Not yet.
Okay, all right. Someday.
But one of our new characters is based on a historical Chinese warrior hero, actually. Wan Yu. I don't know how well people know Chinese history.
I don't play enough Dynasty Warriors to be able to answer that question. I'm sorry.
But just to your
Lu Bu
point,
is where the knowledge starts and stops.
To your point about trying to develop to meet hopes and expectations, part of this update is also a new game mode, which is like a castle siege, which everyone hoped would be in the game and wanted it to be in the game because that's part of this medieval fantasy, and we never had it. And so we announced it with this. So that sort of answers that thing where it's like, oh, this is a thing people wanted, and we're giving it to them now, so they're happy.
That's with the like lava bowls and everything, right?
Lava bowls, yeah. And scorpion bowls, and
really,
yeah.
That's okay. Is that like a unlock? You gotta like play for a while to unlock the scorpion bowl.
Yeah, and like fog cutters, zombie skull crushers. Cool. These are all great tiki drinks.
Why not?
While we're transitioning to alcohol, I did want to bring this up, Jeff.
Okay, lay it on me.
Got some beef with your craft services people.
Hey, join the fucking club.
So Bitburger, beautiful German beer. I'm sure our Danish friends know Bitburger. Bitte ein Bit. So you have Bitburger out there, which is great. We probably can't do a Zoom, but can you do a Zoom?
No.
Nope.
Maybe. Here.
Jeff can do a Zoom. Which Dan was just drinking one of these and acting super drunk.
I brought one over here, excited to be super drunk.
Is this the 0%?
Yeah.
And then yes, it turns out.
So it's hard to see on this shot. Anyway, it's an alcohol-free version of Bitburger, and there's like dozens of them out there.
Bitburger Drive.
Bitburger Drive.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, because you can drive.
Because you can drive.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 0% alcohol. Good goof, Jeff.
Great. Yeah,
That's
enjoy
gonna
those.
Die when the cars will drive themselves.
I'm glad you told me that because otherwise I would have been drinking.
I came back here and Dan was just chugging it. It's like, how's your Bitburger?
Yeah.
Oh, it's full of alcohol, man.
That's what I said.
I don't know why he said it.
Ed, it seems like the last couple of games you've put out have had hooks in them beyond just the traditional, like, hey, let's get on the internet and fight. You know, you've got the kind of pick a faction, the faction battle stuff, and, and all that. You know, it's the metaverse stuff, even in Justice 2, having that stuff kind of rotate in and out. It's been fascinating to watch that stuff. Is that something you think, like, you know, like a lot of games do this kind of live service ongoing thing?
Yeah.
Do you see that sort of stuff expanding as other games kind of get into?
Yeah. It's just support. You know, you guys were talking about, you know, For Honor, and you know, we were talking a little before. It just reminds me of the crazy success of, you know, Rainbow Six.
Yeah.
How, you know, it started out, you know, a slower start, you know, and then it had, like, you know, they were just persistent. You know, they're just, let's just keep fixing this thing, keep listening to people, keep, you know, putting more content in. You know, I believe Rainbow Six gives their DLC away, and
It's like a free to play sort of.
Yeah.
You can earn stuff.
Yeah, and so you know, the you know, credit to the publisher for letting them, you know, just stick with it and be persistent and be, you know, confident that they are gonna get traction, you know, grow their audience and stuff. And now it's this huge thing.
Just
You know,
announced
it's this,
35 million players.
Yeah.
it's amazing.
I played it at launch, and I never would have expected that it would have even gotten off the ground.
And you know, you have your prediction things, and I guess I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, because I thought for sure they were going to have a Rainbow 7, you know, you know, like a sequel or some, you know, thing there. But I think they're just going, you know, let's just keep it up. Let's just keep doing
They've got
this.
the players.
And you know, that kind of thing where the game is just, you know, new stuff's coming, you know, that's kind of our inspiration too, with the whole multiverse thing and our living towers and MK, whatever the last one we did was, and all that stuff was, you know, just so people, you know, there's new stuff in the game, and that whole
come
feeling.
back and here's some new modifiers and
But it's a ton of work. It's like, you know, you really got a lot of people to create that content, and I guess the game is all different, but it's a ton of work.
And then in terms of just like, you know, the idea of just like, hey, you know, giving the people what they want. I mean, obviously, fighting games, no shortage of feedback there. No
shyness by the players in terms of what they hate, and
but in terms of, you know, obviously, like, you know, balance patches and stuff like that, you know, how do you get the data in when it comes to figuring out, you know, hey, maybe there's a change we need to make.
A lot of it is
just needs to be trim some frames off this or that. Is it just like telemetry and just data coming in, or
it's not as scientific as you would think, but it's the conversation that's out there. You know, it's the Reddit and Twitter and all the forums and everything, everybody talking. If you read enough of it, you can get a consensus, or at least but oddly is, you know, somebody will play and do really well with a character, and then the first thing everybody's overpowered.
The minute anyone wins a tournament, they're like, oh, man,
exactly. And
Characters
but then
we announced this week that nobody's played, they've already determined are over.
that they're broken. Exactly. So you know, a lot of it is also waiting for the dust to settle, because we always have like you know, it's hard not to this reaction thing of like, oh, let's fix Captain Cold. You know, somebody won with him, or somebody did, you know, something with Atrocitus, whatever, and so you really got to wait around and let the dust settle a bit. But it's tough because you see some people just plowing through people with the character. But
and then just with the community aspect, obviously, you know, the tournament scene and all other stuff. Do you run into situations where you're like, there's stuff that we have ready to go, fixes that we're ready to make, but Evo's around the corner. We can't just change the game on them while they're training up for a major.
And because that would completely invalidate, you know, anybody who won. It's like, yo, they changed it the night before, and nobody knows how to play against them now and stuff.
I don't know. That seems like a very Mortal Kombat thing, coming from the company that changed all the fatalities in one revision to the next in the arcade wars.
I was in denial that the internet existed, or that. So like, you know, when somebody would learn a fatality, I'd be like, oh yeah, you know. And then somehow that pissed people off.
Weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
No, I spent a lot more money relearning fatalities. So congratulations.
That was a
on
mistake.
that.
That was a mistake for sure.
Took money from. I was a high school kid. I was a
Yeah, I know.
that was my lunch money. I was gonna eat.
Yeah, it's so funny, like, you walk around E3 and stuff, and people, approach you and everything, and I was playing your game since I was 8. And you're like, really? Are you a functioning citizen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I think, gosh, I was 16, 17. Yeah.
I would have been. I think I was
yeah.
9,
Yeah.
just like completely obsessed with it from that age.
man.
Yeah.
It was a different time.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Like that was definitely, it was like that Night Trap. There was all kinds of.
Yeah.
I wrote.
Those were the 2 games.
Yeah, that Night Trap. Those were
Yes.
the 2 games, and Cinemax was the only channel. It was awesome.
I wrote a Mortal Kombat play for my friend's 10th birthday and acted out in his basement and got injured because I was Scorpion selling a Johnny Cage fireball by flipping on his concrete floor and I had to go to the hospital.
That's the most.
Oh, man.
Sorry.
No, can this be an assassination? Can we work this in? Like,
I'm
look like
pretty
an accident,
sure we can
reenacting,
figure something out there.
the game is technically in the Warner Brothers family, so maybe like steal the
have-
Scorpion outfit.
We need some people to call some other problems people.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I think we just talked about it before coming on. I recall Mortal Kombat in the basement of my cinema, my childhood cinema. I was like, oh my god, the graphics were amazing, and it's like, and you went home to your Commodore 64.
Yeah. Right.
I was just telling a story earlier as well, because I'm from Germany, right? And back in the day, they would mix up arcades with gambling machines,
Yeah.
so you were not allowed to go in there before you're 18, right?
Right, yeah.
So we just like pressed our noses against the window, and every so often we would just sneak in, like play a few rounds, and we got thrown out. So now I have this machine. Screw all you old people who threw me out.
So you just needed to be dressing the part, get a nice sport coat or something like that. Go in there and like, oh, hello, I'm here to murder.
Which one was it that had like the hidden Pong?
3?
Was it 3?
Is that 3? You had to play like 300
Two.
matches.
I think
or
it was
something.
2.
And then get to the question mark on the tower before Shao Kahn, right?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
My friends and I spent hours playing Pong in Mortal Kombat in the 90s. I don't know.
There was a funny. We've talked about it before. There was something called Pong Combat that someone had made, where they had tried to make different paddles that had different moves and projectiles and stuff. So there was like kind of a Liu Kang paddle, and they did fatalities, but it was always just like one paddle bends over and rips the other one in half and throws it, and it's just bloody for some reason.
That's amazing.
The battle chess version of Pong.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So with Hitman, you're still talking about the kind of the one environment, but I thought it was interesting that kind of the day the game got announced, suddenly there was like, hey, if you pre-order now, we've got a mode for you to try immediately, the sniper assassin mode.
Yeah.
So I immediately was like, well, I'm going to check that out. Went ahead and got a hold of it.
Yeah.
And it's fun to, it's like such a different kind of like clockwork take on, or it's like, it's fun seeing the Hitman mechanics.
Exactly. I
like
think
from a distance.
Precisely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of similarities in that. I think that's it's based on the same ingredients to some degree, right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of the same mindset. And the designer who's also a great fan of you guys, he went to great lengths to kind of get the whole Hitman clockwork in there with this whole wedding scene that plays out, and you can make someone have their worst wedding ever. It's like so I think that's it works really, really well, and it turns into this it's a more a puzzle game, right?
Yeah.
Which I really enjoy,
and I didn't really. So I went through it the first time, and I was just like, well, I'm just gonna all right. Shot this person. I got all 3 of the targets. And I was like, oh, I need to get the rest.
But wait,
they're all
more.
mad. Yeah. And took them all down. I was like, okay, all right. And I started digging into the menus and saw all the stuff about like, hey, shoot the statue and make that fall over. I was like, oh, this is still Hitman.
It's still Hitman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
And then all the challenges and all that stuff there, right? So it's like, have you tried the co-op version?
No, not yet. It was like the night before coming down to E3. I was just like, I need to try this right now, and then haven't been able
It's like
to.
you start out by being best friends, right? And then your friend, he stops being your friend because he shoots the wrong things all of a sudden and can't time the shots and stuff like that. So it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
I haven't played the demo yet here, but is it similar to, there was a pre-order bonus for Absolution, that was that sniper challenge where you're kind of perched on a rooftop,
Yep.
kind of overlooking this party or something. Is it a similar thing? 'Cause I remember that being really good.
Yeah, absolutely similar.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So there are definitely.
Awesome. I really like that.
Is that something that's going to exist in the full game on like a multitude of maps, or to be like it will be like the same environments from the regular campaign, but just kind of taken, just repurposed for this mode, or?
I'm not sure that it's going to be the same. It's not going to be the. There will be sniper maps.
Okay.
And I don't know. I wouldn't expect them to be on the same things. But
Okay. I just wasn't sure if it's like, hey, we're going to repurpose this part of this environment for this, or if it's going to be.
Oh, because actually the maps are actually quite different. From the outside, it looks similar, but the location in the Sniper Assassin is kind of designed for this.
Sure.
And a regular map would have a harder time kind of doing that same experience.
I guess it's got more of like that shooting gallery, like, hey, you stand here, you shoot into this space.
Precisely. And you need these places where people can kind of fall off, which can be, I think, hard architectural to actually design in a map. So, but it's great fun.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. Ed, how are you spending the show? Part of me was like secretly like, he's showing the game to retailers, I bet. They're doing something. They got other stuff going on. So are you having a busy show, or?
No, like actually walking around the show. It's weird. I was just talking about. I've had the most amazing luck in terms of like, you go to one of the booths and the line's like 3 hours long.
Totally.
And I just don't have 3 hours to kill
Yep.
to play one game, but almost. Quite a number of the booths that I've gone to, like I went to the Epic one. So I go to the front desk and I was going to ask for. So I know Mark Rain, from Epic, and I was like, is Mark here? I just wanted to see if I can, whatever. And the guy behind the desk, we knew each other, and he showed me all the stuff. And it happened like 4 or 5 times. I got into the Spider-Man thing.
Nice.
Which is great. I love the. It was the first time I played Spider-Man stuff. It's got a lot of options. I was a little overwhelmed at first, but once you start getting the hang of it and all the controls, it was a lot of fun. So that happened a few times. Like someone ran into me and said, "Oh, come check out this game. I'll get you through the line." And so it's been great. It's been one of the rare times that I get to actually enjoy the show and check it out.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Speaking of Spider-Man, it's you're no stranger to crossovers. We recently played some of this Mortal Kombat versus DC. Game from
God, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a while back.
10 years ago.
It was fascinating going back to it and seeing like how it kind of laid the groundwork in a lot of ways for what came after it.
It did, yeah.
And seeing like it was kind of this return to form.
Layout.
After the games that came out on PS2 and Xbox, Armageddon and.
MK9, what you call MK9, and Injustice 2, MKX, they have this, story mode where you go in and out of the fights.
Yeah.
It actually was started, a lot of people thought it was started with Mortal Kombat 2011, but it was actually MKDC that started that format, and we just kind of refined it and it with each one there.
So these crossovers, the Spider-Man, what do you think? Marvel, DC, obviously it seems like a licensing nightmare, but Lego Marvels happened. Let me ask you this. Hey, would that be cool?
Yeah, that'd be really cool. I think your licensing nightmare is the greatest understatement of in history. Right. I mean, it's like let's get Jesus and the devil to do a crossover
all the time.
That's in Scribble Notes.
Yeah, and I'm not calling anybody the devil.
I was going to say, which one's which in that scenario is?
Yeah, I guess like that game got me thinking about like the crossover stuff.
Yeah,
again.
in the world of wouldn't it be cool? It would be like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and
someone once told me that would be inevitable. The Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat would get together.
Who?
One Hector Sanchez.
Oh, he did say that.
He did say that.
I think he tweeted that.
Yeah.
Too.
So I always go back to that when I think about that. It's like the fighting game crossover stuff. We've seen it. With BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, they're bringing together the Persona characters and some other stuff. And
Street Fighter, Tekken.
Yeah, which is a little less successful.
Right. I guess
SNK
Marvel
versus Capcom.
Capcom is
Yeah.
kind of a crossover.
Yeah, yeah, kinda,
bit.
yeah. That's technically, I still think the thing we keep joking is they just need to make Capcom versus Capcom because they've got
That's right.
so many different characters that haven't shown up in stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something cool. There's something novel about that. You know, certainly MKDC, we had a decent number of restrictions.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, it was a different DC.
Uh-huh.
You know, it was you know, there was a lot of, you know, behind the scenes stuff that people weren't aware of that was pretty challenging to get around.
And that was still, I mean, that game was a Midway release, right? That wasn't a Warner.
Yeah, I think it was the last
Yeah.
Midway.
So I
that
imagine
we
that
had done.
still being on the outside of
It
Warner,
was.
that's probably even harder at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah. Oh my God! Like when we did Injustice and Injustice 2, it was night and day.
Yeah.
You know, they were so, and it was different people too that we were dealing
Oh,
with.
sure,
So,
yeah.
but it was really
Yeah.
a great relationship we had with them. Yeah.
So you've done guest characters and stuff like that along the way.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I guess like would you ever see yourself doing another crossover game, or do you feel like, you know, Injustice and Mortal Kombat have just become, you know, they've diverged, you know, in
Yeah.
pretty big ways, fighting systems and all that sort of stuff. You know,
Yeah.
there are similarities
Yeah.
for sure, but you know, they're pretty different games
Yeah,
at this
and
point.
you know, and for our team, it's certainly it's like a palate cleanser. You know,
Sure,
like at
yeah.
first, like, you know, how are you cutting people's heads off, and are you doing all this stuff, and then all of a sudden, it's, you know, how does Supergirl punch? You know,
Yeah.
how does, you know, Atrocitus do? And so it's for the team, it's a nice, you know, kind of like, you know, listening to one kind of music than listening to something
Right,
else, and
yeah.
kind of appreciate the other one when you listen to.
So while you've been listening to this other type of music, is there just a whiteboard full of just like, all right, this guy's in half now, and then what if this guy took his hat and we like this a bunch, and then the
Yeah.
parts, and then over here I've just drawn 9 rib cages. You do with this what you will.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, those that, you know, for like MKX, we had these meetings that, you know, have you know, they really get disgusting, like, you know, like to the point of, you know, like,
No, we're not gonna do this.
yeah. And MKX had the most like, you know, no, we're not doing that, you know, type of conversation.
Did you find that happening more and more as the tech gets better and better, and suddenly you're like, this is too much?
Yeah, you know, it's. I actually think it's more the result of, you know, 25 years. Has it been that long? Yeah, 25 years
Yeah.
of coming up with them. You know, of you know, like there's got to be over a couple of hundred fatalities that have been done. You know, at some point, you know, okay, let's come up with 100 more.
Right.
It's somebody's going to cross the line. Somebody's going to cross the line of. But you know, that's one of the most fun meetings that we've had. You know, was doing that stuff for him.
Does it just show up on someone's calendar like fatality kickoff?
It is, yeah.
For a fatality kickoff meeting, you're like, all right,
Yeah, yeah.
bring your ideas, let's get this going.
Exactly. Yeah.
And how with For Honor, you know,
We have executions, which
Right.
are
Weapons.
probably the most direct line you could draw from Mortal Kombat to For Honor.
yeah,
It's the same. It's like super brutal, oddly creative ways to murder people.
so you have like a samurai that grows 25 feet tall and then stomps on
Not
him.
yet. Not yet, sadly.
Okay, all right, you've got
Where'd
a
you
knight
get
that
that?
turns
Where'd
into
you
a
get that from?
penguin and walks over and
I've always been wondering about that.
yeah.
A penguin.
I hope
Who would do that? I've ever heard.
Why can he do that?
Does it
Always
like
wondered.
open up their chest and a bunch of bombs fly out and the world explodes? Anything like that? Or
Yeah, we turned them into the babies and stuff.
man, that if For Honor had babalities, that'd be pretty funny.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll go back, bring it back to the team. If the community wants it, I'll make it happen. Want babalities and For Honor? Talk to me.
I just want a knight to sign an autograph to someone and throw it. That's something like that, just in homage.
I love it.
Yeah. With Mortal Kombat, you know, there's been such that rich history of the fighting games, but obviously there's been the other stuff, the the games that, but whether it was modes in the games, from kart racers to puzzle combat and all that other stuff.
Right.
But on the drive down, Alex and I got to talking about Shaolin Monks for the first time in a while.
Right. Yeah.
And that was a really cool game. It was great to see like something a little more lore oriented, I guess. I guess at this point, like there's so much story and stuff in the fighting games, though.
Yeah. Last night, just coincidentally, a guy named Adam Pohl, who's he was lead combat designer on Shaolin Monks. He went on to work on God of War 2, God of War 3, and now he's at Blizzard. Amazing designer, and he was at Michael Pachter's party. The thing you guys refuse to go to every year.
Well, it's because we're here.
I know.
I went the 1 year, and I was like, "This is great. People are hanging out, having a drink. Outstanding."
I gotta go work.
Gotta go.
Exactly. I just always feel bad you guys can't go, but
he once offered to set us up in a corner and be like, "You just do your show from there."
Oh my God.
I'm like, no one at this party wants like guys with microphones there. Like that's just not gonna work.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But I was talking to him and how we were kind of saying how because they had we had kind of like laid the groundwork of like a sequel to that game, a game Fire and Ice. It was Scorpion and Sub-Zero and stuff.
It's like 3D, right?
Yeah.
Like swinging around city and stuff.
And it was like canceled in that whole crazy Midway,
It fell into the This Is Vegas hole.
Yeah, that was a big hole, and there was but it was something that was like looking really cool, and just the circumstances didn't make it. But I always thought it was a shame that so many years went by. It must have been at least 10 years since that game.
I guess so.
15,
Yeah.
Like that.
At this point,
Shaolin Monks?
Yeah.
That was like 2005 or so.
Yes,
Yeah,
13 years.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Wow.
So that would have been a cool thing to have done.
Well, I'll just I could just sit here and pitch all night. All right, okay. What if Rocksteady Studios, another studio that just apparently doesn't have a game going, what if they made a Mortal Kombat game? They make pretty good action adventure games. You give them like a Scorpion or a Sub-Zero.
They make awesome action.
They're doing world-class stuff. Batman's cool, but look. He's no Scorpion.
Those guys are awesome, though.
Yeah, definitely. I can't wait to see what they're working on next. Yeah, no, I know. I'm not even like, hey, Ed, spill on the Rocksteady.
No, I wasn't. Oh,
No, yeah.
I didn't think you were that.
You're being published by Warner. What's going on? Pope, what have you heard?
So, they have a Montreal studio, actually.
See?
So
All right.
I can't say.
You don't know them.
Great.
Yeah, it's not like devs talk to each other.
No one knows anything. Yeah, ever. No one talks to us either. Well, I think that's going to do it for us. I want to thank everyone for coming out.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to whatever it is, the Grid 2 coming pretty soon here. If I keep saying it, it'll someday it'll happen.
Yeah, that would be cool. Really cool. Online.
And of course, Hitman 2. I mean, it's the follow-up to our Game of the Year. Do you, not post Hitman, that there are other IPs in the IO Interactive catalog. Do you ever see any of those ever getting revisited?
Well, right now it's Hitman.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But would you be open to the idea, or is it like, hey, Hitman's working real well, we're gonna maybe?
It's like
I guess you're probably not even thinking about it.
You cannot not think about it, right?
Yeah.
But right now it's Hitman, right? So it's like
Cool.
that's where we're kind of busy right now.
Cool. Great. And Eric Pope, there will never be a For Honor 2 because For Honor 1's just going to last forever, right?
Our producer has a 10-year plan for Honor, so this
man.
job security as long as the game stays in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So no, it's kind of again with the Rock Band compares, it's sort of a platform rather than trying to just sequelize it.
So what will be For Honor's American Pie?
Ooh. That's when we get into like pirates and stuff, probably.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And then you'd be like, okay, that's it. Wrap it up. We're done. Yeah. Work on the sequel now.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks everyone for coming out.
Thank you so much.
We are going to take a break and we'll be back with some more guests. Hang out. See ya.